So in the instructions for the holmes air filter, it says that in order to wash the mesh air filter, you need to wash it under a sink. And my camera resolution is showing me a really grainy picture right now. Kind of sucks. Anyways, they say go ahead and remove the mesh filter. There's a point there. Should be a point there. Yep, right there. There, and I think there's something in the middle. Yeah, right here. So there's little tiny plastic points, which, if you remove the filter, you can see they're just. So this mesh fabric can be removed, and there's that little pokey thing right there. I'm not sure what to call it, but there's a few of these holding down the mesh, and it's not securely attached at all. It's more or less just stabbed onto these pokey things, and that's how it's held on. So what the instructions say to do is to remove this mesh and run it under your kitchen faucet to wash out all the dust, which is mainly on the front here. I press the mesh against the front, you can see all the dust bunnies in there. That's like a month worth of dust going through there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it is highly effective. So instead of removing the mesh filter, I found a better, easier way where you don't have to remove the mesh filter at all. You don't have to get it wet, and you don't have to let it dry for several hours. Instead, you take vacuum, and I normally have the one nozzle that you put on the end of the hose, and it basically takes the suction power down to a point. And it sucks everything within like an area like that big on the hose. So I can't find it right now, so I'm just gonna have to use the full hose width, or maybe like put my finger over it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. So I'm just basically you just take this vacuum and you put it flush against the plastic mesh. Try and get good lighting on that. Flush against the plastic mesh, trying to create as much of a seal as possible. The smaller the hole on the vacuum, the better, because it means more suction. But if you have a really powerful vacuum, like a Kirby for instance, this is probably going to be more than enough. So you just put it flush against the plastic here and just suck all of the dust out the way it went back in. So that way you don't vacuum it from the side here, because one, if you have a powerful enough vacuum, the vacuum could rip this fragile mesh apart. You could rip this thing apart with one hand if you really wanted to. So if you have a good enough vacuum, it can rip this thing apart, and it has to suck all the dust that's on the front through it to get it through the back. So you definitely want to have this against the plastic here, just having it suck out all of the dust. And the reason why you don't remove it and suck it from the front of it is, one, it could damage the mesh, and two, you can have a powerful vacuum as you want, and this plastic pretty much holds the mesh back from being sucked into the vacuum. So I will show you how that's done. There. Pretty much brand new. Let me check that. Yeah, vacuum definitely cleans it better with the narrow nozzle on it, but it did a pretty darn good job. And when you wash this thing, you don't get all the dirt off of it. The dirt kind of just turns dark, and you can't tell the difference between mesh and dirt. So when you wash it, it looks clean, but when you dry it, you find that the dust has just caked itself onto the mesh even more. So vacuuming definitely does a better job, apparently, because you can see straight through the mesh now. So it's the weakest point is this circle right here, and you know you need to clean the filter when the circle, which is being held by looking for the spikes. There's a spike there. Okay, there are no spikes here. One spike there, and that seems to be it. So there's a spike here and a spike here holding the mesh around the circle. Otherwise, it's just the structure of the mesh holding itself to the circle, and there is no fine gaps or whatnot to hold it flush to the circle. So when there's enough dust on the mesh, it will actually push the mesh back and allow the air to escape through the mesh into or past that circle. So that circle is kind of your indicator of when to clean it. So when the mesh gets pushed back and like pushed this way and all the dirt and dust comes in, that's a very good indicator that the rest of it is too clogged and you need to vacuum it. So the water rinsing this, as the instructions say, does work, but the vacuuming is far more effective, and it's even more effective if you have a narrow nozzle, one of those 6-inch narrow nozzles that come with them attached to it, but I can't find mine. So yeah, that's how you get it clean. And if you want it brand spanking new clean, then I suggest you get a powerful vacuum like a Kirby or a I don't remember the name of the vacuum, but it's a really good vacuum, and I'll put it somewhere on the screen. So I'm literally going to save up for it. It's that good of a vacuum. So this is an indicator telling you what month reminding you what month you should replace the filter. I got it in September, I think, and the filter on the instructions says it lasts for like 3 months. So I adjusted the dial to the month that it needs to remind me to replace the filter, not the mesh filter, but the HEPA filter that it comes with. So it's currently November 9th, and I'll check the condition of the mesh filter or of the HEPA filter to see if I need to replace that. But last time I checked it, I think I could get another month or two out of it. So I'm getting into the talking mode now. I'm kind of getting into the groove, so now I'm talking faster. But anyways, that's how you clean the Holmes HEPA air filter mesh filter. You will have to clean the mesh filter. It's not like, oh, eventually it'll collect up enough dust that it'll let the dust just pass through it. We don't have to worry about it. You will have to clean it. The only way you can get out of it is if you remove the mesh filter and everything is collected by the HEPA filter. And that will just use more money because the HEPA filter will get jammed up super quick. So this mesh filter is actually saving you money by extending the life of your HEPA filter. And the mesh filter, unlike the HEPA filter, is reusable over and over and over again. So that's how you clean. That's a really good way, better than the instruction manual says, to clean the mesh filter for the Holmes air filter. It's been probably less than an hour, and since I cleaned the mesh filter of my air filter, and it's already smelling better in my bedroom.